You may be aware that on this channel I have an ongoing series called Meet Local Girls, which concerns all of the catfishing fake account plastered all over social media. But every now and again, one of the con artists will engage in conversation to try and build up what appears to be a relationship. And today, in this Meet Local Girls extra video, we'll be looking at one of those conversations where I decided to play along. In fact, not just play along. I thought, if the person on the other end of this conversation is lying through their teeth, fuck it, I'll do the same. Can I con the con artist? I mean, how outlandish would I have to be? So this, dear viewer, is the ballad of Mary Schmidt and Disgruntled Danny. Actually, it's the ballad of Mary and the alter ego I use when I'm talking to telemarketers, a chap called Monty. So, if like me, you're a straight man in his early 40s, there are some rather obvious signs that the attractive young woman at the other end of the conversation, who for reasons best known to herself wants to fly halfway around the world to have wild uninhibited sex with you, might not be all that she seems. Now, I've covered these in previous videos, but let's have a quick recap. First up, she, although of course we don't know the sex of the person on the other end of the conversation, but she will always say she's 29 years old. Clearly that's a lie. There is no such thing as a 29-year-old woman. Any female who says she's 29 is pushing 40 and chancing her arm. Next, typically she'll say she lives in Los Angeles. And if not LA, then maybe New York. She's never been married, never had kids, and she's always been hurt in the past. This allows the mark to step into the role of being a rescuer, to be a knight in shining armour. Or as we'll see with me, more of a shite in shining armour. Lastly, look out for the spelling and grammar. Now, of course, if like me you're British, it's worth remembering that the Americans use a slightly different, simplified version of our mother tongue. But more importantly, look at the way it's being written. Does that person appear to be using English as if it's their first language? So here is Mary. She'd sent me a friend request on Faceless Book, and I'd accepted because clearly this is a bullshit account. For example, worked at the University of Texas at Dallas. Studied at the University of Texas at Dallas. Went to the University of Texas at Dallas. Almost as if she's putting any crap in there to try and make this account seem real. So a few pleasantries were exchanged and then the conversation got going. See how many red flags you can spot. Mary, I'm single, not married, and am new here. So I replied, what sort of guy are you looking for? Please tell me more about yourself. Now, all she would have to do is click on my profile and she could find out how old I am, where I'm employed, and also that I'm married. But Mary seemed more inclined to get all of her information out in one hit. Ready? More about myself, my full names. Names, not name is or name apostrophe s, so there, a basic grammatical error. Names Mary Schmidt, 29 years old, single, never married, and have no kid. There's another grammatical error. This is someone who went to the University of Texas at Dallas. She continues, I am not too tall or short, nor fat or tin, not thin, tin, so nice to know she's not metallic. As you have seen my profile, 5'5", measurements 35, 24, 35, weight 56 kilograms. There's another red flag. Why is an American giving her weight via the metric system? But still, there's more. My relationship status is single, as I already told you. Okay, bitch, calm down. I was in a relationship, but I had to quit. My ex-lover was unfaithful. I caught him having sex with my best friend. So either this is clearly a con, or she's a crap shag. She concludes this paragraph, I guess you know how devastating the feeling was. No, not a clue, I wasn't there. Since then, I've decided to be alone. Now, this is a near perfect example of a beautiful woman who's been hurt in the past, who wants a man to come and rescue her and make everything okay. Sadly, she hasn't factored in that I'm a complete arsehole. So I decided to play the role of a caring and supportive listener. Much blandness was exchanged over a couple of days. And then I decided to check that I was dealing with someone who was catfishing. So I asked, what do you do for fun and whereabouts do you live? She replied, I like playing PS games and I live in Los Angeles, California. She's ticked every fucking box. So I thought, if she's lying, what can I bring to the table? How fucking mad can I go? Before we go on, I have to say that her saying that she enjoys playing PlayStation games, that's a clever move. The video game thing makes her relatable to certain types of lonely single men. But then she went one better with her first request for money. She led into it thus. Like, seriously, am not okay, but am scared to ask something because I don't know how you will feel about it. Please don't be mad at me. If you can help me, just be honest with me, but that's all. Then bizarrely, I hate insult. I've said fuck all, love. I need money. If you can give me any amount, I will so appreciate. Note that the English has gone to shit. She later added, just $300 to pay my internet and get food stuff at home and get my pills too. So I asked, what medication do you need? And she responded, it's something about my health. It's menstrual. I guess that's meant to read menstrual. It's her menstrual disorder. I have to say that's quite clever because she's appearing vulnerable and asking for help, while subtly hinting that she's got a vagina and any man who helps her out might get a go on it. Now, up to this point, I've said very little about myself, but for Mary, it was time to meet Monty. We've all been in this situation. You're sat down enjoying your evening meal and the phone goes. And on the other end is some bastard saying they're carrying out a 2-minute survey, and you know that 2 minutes is going to last quarter of a fucking hour. You also know every answer you give, they are going to sell to marketing companies and you will be getting bombarded with phone calls for the next 3 months. And with that in mind, last year I came up with the character Monty. The reason being, the answers which my alter ego gives are so fucking unusual, they are of no use to any marketing company. So here's an overview of Monty, who I was about to unleash onto the unsuspecting Miss Schmidt. Please don't call me Dan. My friends call me Monty, although the K is silent. There is no K anywhere in my name. The idea is that already the other person is on the back foot. So Monty continues, I'm a helicopter pilot, hang gliding instructor and semi-professional line dancer. Currently, I live in a yurt and get my electricity from a turbine I constructed myself, using nothing but driftwood and diagrams drawn by my great uncle who made terrible weapons for the Soviets. I don't have life insurance. No one will touch me, not with all the heroin I've done. I have 11 children, all of them have had their jabs and 3 are still available. I've been married and widowed 6 times. All of my wives died in tragic hang gliding accidents. So come on, Mary, how much do you want that $300 fucking dollars? At the very least, I think it's fair to say that Mary was somewhat taken aback. But she recovered saying, you've led a very interesting life. An interesting life? Monty sounds like a fucking psychopath. But nonetheless, she recovered, so I thought I'll up the ante. I said I'd give her any money she needed, but I was going to do it in person. So, Monty is a helicopter pilot, and I sent this photograph as proof. Now, there are a couple of obvious flaws with this. Firstly, in a helicopter, the pilot sits on the right, and as you can clearly see, to my right is a woman wearing a captain's uniform. But I said I had some freelance work in Los Angeles. When and where would she like to meet up? It seemed to take an eternity for Mary to reply. It felt like there was a sense of panic in the air, because clearly she doesn't want to meet in person, because meeting in person might prove she doesn't fucking exist. However, eventually she replied saying, I would loving to meeting you, see the English has just gone to shit, but I am desperate for medication and without it in 24 hours I may not survive. I'm not a doctor, but how common is it for women to die from having irregular periods? Now, I didn't respond for 48 hours, and when I went to message, it turned out Mary's account had been deactivated. So it appears the con artist on the other end would prefer to fake his character's death rather than deal with Monty's weird shit. I'll be honest, I'm counting that as a win. Now, if you've got to this point of the video, hopefully it's helped you see how to combat fake accounts, and if not, then hopefully it's just given you a bit of a laugh. I've got no way to end this video other than to say, as ever, thanks for watching.